Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. I am Kelly Birmingham. This is a look back across my 25-year career, 27 now, in working with children and adults with autism, developmental disabilities. I'm here with my partner in crime, as always, Jen Lucero, mom to Dylan and Ethan. Hi, Jen.
Hey, Kelly.
So we're going to talk risks today. And, it is not lost on me that we're heading into Autism Awareness Action Acceptance Month, right?
Yep.
And our world is even more divided on the concept of autism these days. I actually get regularly attacked on my social media pages by verbal attacks, obviously, or texting attacks or messages about some folks that say, what I'm doing as an ABA practitioner is bad and harmful. But that largely comes from a group of people that are less impacted on the autism spectrum. And then we have sort of the middle area of the spectrum, which is where my stepdaughter fits. She's right in the middle. And then we have Dylan, who's more towards the more impacted, severer end on the spectrum. And so as we're coming into that month, I thought, let's start talking about this divide. And
it's so true. I mean, I experienced it more professionally, especially when I was with Autism Speaks. Same thing, especially for some of my bigger signature events. There was a lot of backlash, and we've actually experienced, protests and some, people tried to vandalize one of our events. And like, to me, it was always like so shocking because I'm like, oh my gosh, like we're literally like, if anybody's going to accept people, it's people like you and I. But also we're just trying to help people, but we're not trying to like change anybody,
Right,
so,
exactly.
But yeah, I've experienced it too. And I know it sounds weird, but probably for you too, for like, and I know it wasn't like personally at me, but it hurt. It was like painful,
Yeah. So absolutely. And I think, having done this as long as I have worked with those that are very, very severely impacted, all the way to those that have graduated at the top of their class and gone to Stanford and graduated at the top of his class in Stanford.
Yep.
And so I have my career and your work experience spans across all the different levels of engagement and support. And so I thought we could start off just talking about, parenting. I'm a stepmom, you're a mom. And as people professionally in the business, we have to take a lot of risks with our kids in order for them to grow, right? And, you and I were chuckling about, a risk you took recently that was a big deal for you guys that people may not understand. And we'll have you talk about that in a second. I have Melanie, who's 31, lives in her own apartment, but that risk to have her move was years in the making of planning, right? I mean, we went so far as to convert our garage into an apartment. We didn't put plumbing in, but we had a, living room in there, bedroom in there, it was a little garage, but we made that into an apartment and spent a whole year pretending that was her apartment. And then we would leave. So she was alone at the house in her apartment, right? And then when we were able to secure housing in an apartment in our community, we'd have Melanie go, we drop her off at night and pick her up midnight. And, we shaped this process of her living alone that, we slept outside of her apartment building. It was right down the street. We put in, cameras. We did so much. It was like 2 years before we could say she'd successfully lived and spent a week alone. Right. And people don't have to do that with neurotypical kids.
Yeah.
That risk, like the heart, the scariness, the anxiety, the trying to figure every angle, like what if a stranger came to the door? What if someone tricked her and said it was a delivery, but they had to come in? What if, like, working in every scenario we could possibly think of was, you know, the risk is insurmountable. And who knows what could have happened? You know, she's 5 years out at this point, but we still encounter things that we're like, shit, we didn't even think of that.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Like it's
the unexpected, like maybe, or things that happen all the time that we take for granted just in our normal lives, that for somebody else, especially on the spectrum, like it could be such a huge deal, you know?
Yeah. And the level of preparing, you know, as a BCBA, you know, the level of environmental analysis and antecedent strategies, planning for consequences and what's going to happen if there's a challenge. And, you know, it really struck me when your recent change you made in your house, which for most people might be a no big deal, and how you went through it. So share your recent change, the risk you took.
So, you know, our house takes a, you know, good beating, you know, Dylan, with furniture and stuff, because, you know, he has acid reflux. He has issues with throwing up a lot. He used to have issues of, you know, once in a while at night, you know, wetting the bed, you know, so obviously we're hardcore about cleaning, but, you know, after a while things get a little rough, you know, so we had decided to get a new couch and replace our couch, our chair in the living room, which is totally Dylan's, like, that's his little space, you know, that's where he likes to hang out. And then we also got him a new mattress. And so there was huge preparations for that.
So you were getting new couch, new chair, new mattress.
Yes.
All completely new things to Dylan.
Yeah. And, you know, we've had the same, I mean, it was really nice at the time and, you know, sturdy, but, you know, we've had the same, I would say the, you know, same chair and couch for probably since we moved here. So like back here. So going on 17 years, you know, so it definitely had its run, you know, but it started really after multiple, you know, acid reflux pukes, even though I cleaned it, you know, the cushions are starting to rip up and stuff. So, you know, it was looking pretty rough, you know, but it was and the whole process of it was like, you know, it was a lot, and it was like, okay, and how are we going to pull this off, especially during COVID and with Dylan always home right now, and like, you know, how are we going to navigate this? What are we going to get? What's appropriate? What is he, you know, it's obviously it's not his couch and chair. It's not all about him, but this is his house. This is his safe place. So it was a huge consideration, not only of like what to get, how to get it, but also how to pull off getting it in here without freaking him out. Because he tends to, if someone comes in the house to like fix anything or change anything, he really, really gets like tweaked out and anxiety. So it's a big deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
and even when I told him, I didn't tell him about the couch and the chair. I told him, you're getting a new bed. And he didn't like that. And I think like I had to then show him pictures that I showed him it was just the mattress and the springboard, because his main concern, because he has these Winnie the Pooh sheets, that bedding that I designed like a million years ago at Disney. I think in his mind, he immediately went to like, I'm not going to have that bedding anymore. Like I was trying to pull, like, I'm trying to get you like a whole new look. And it was like, no, it's actually just the part that you're going to sleep on. And like, this mattress is older and like, it's starting to sink,
Yeah.
And I was trying to tell him like, this is going to be much more comfortable. You're going to be able to sleep better. It's going to be so nice. So once I showed him photos that it was the mattress and showed him like physically, you're still going to have like Winnie the Pooh bedding. And he's like, that part was fine then.
That's so funny. That's funny. That's Melanie with her Pokemon bedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's interesting, like these kinds of little changes can have big impact in our kids' lives, right? And, as a behavior analyst, I'm always, as people have heard me on the soapbox forever. Quality of life is what I'm always talking about. And that's quality of life for the kids, quality of life for the families. And so having new furniture, that's a big deal for you guys, right? It is a really big deal.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, and it was a thing of like, what's he gonna like? What's gonna be sturdy?
Yep.
Like there was certain criteria. Okay, I wanted something. This is Dylan stuff because Dylan's like I know a lot of our kids do weird stuff like this, but he likes to hide things. So the funny part was when they were coming, I had to find a place that would take the old furniture too, which is hard right now with COVID. So I pulled the couch and first of all, underneath the couch, because it was like kind of a wide bottom, he shoves things under the couch. All right. Then also the cushions, we used to have 3 cushions, but they were easy to pull out. There was a bunch of stuff in there, even though I clean it all the time. I'm like, how is this possible? So that was part of the criteria too. First of all, if he pukes, because it's going to happen, what's going to be sturdy, easy to clean? And then I got 2 cushions that are really tight, so it's going to be harder for him to like shove stuff in there. And then I got the couch is very low, so it's going to be harder for him to like shove stuff in because like I found, he likes to, which was a problem in the past, he likes to rip out pages out of books or like magazines. So he tries to hide stuff, or he used to have daily calendars, but he tries to shove them because he might want them later, stuff like that. Yeah. It's always like stuff or wrappers, like I can't even tell you like how many Starbucks like wrappers I found like under the cushion. And I'm like, man, this looks like awful. But like that was like a consideration, And then one of the big things too for him, like I said, the stress of I only told him about the bed, but I purposely didn't tell him about the couch or I ended up getting a love seat because they matched, but because I thought his reaction to the mattress like stopped me from telling him anything. And then I'm like, okay, I gotta organize this, which is hard these days, where he's not gonna be here. Right. So I organized my dad coming to take him out. Yep. During the window, and then having everything done, getting everything out, getting everything in, to everything organized, making sure his bedding was all on there. So when he walked in that door and he saw everything, I was like, whoa, check it out. Look at this. We got a new couch. And look at this is going to be so nice for you. And then let's go check out your bed. And then he was totally good because like it was new, but it didn't like, it didn't stress him out seeing like the old stuff going away and the new stuff coming in, and that he had that comfort that when he saw the new bed, it was still familiar. Yeah. So, I know it probably sounds crazy, but it was like you said with Melanie, it was a big process.
Yeah. I mean, a risk to have your child have something new and different and improve their quality of life. Something like even like that is so much planning. I know when I think back about those years transitioning Melanie into her apartment, it was night after night of sleepless nights and stress and checking. And I can't tell you, like in years to get into that. And the reason I'm reflecting on it is because, I reflect now, and Melanie she lived in her apartment and been on her own for 5 years. She
Amazing.
has a job that she actually likes, and the people like her, which is unheard of, but, frankly, for her. But, at 31, she works at Rubio's, about 25 hours a week, and manages her own schedule.
That's great.
And they like her and she likes them, and they're kind to her.
That's
So,
awesome.
like, we finally feel like we got there. We're like, oh my God, we got there. But yet she recently became really sick.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it all hit you in the face again, because she could not tell us what was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We had to try to guess, right? We were trying to, like, okay, she seems congested, but she maybe looks like she's dizzy. And she just kept saying, I feel stuffy. Well, it turns out she had a very severe sinus infection, ear infection that was dropping into her lungs, like upper respiratory, but she could not tell us that. And it just hit us in the face with, like, we had her fly by herself out to Montana to see her sister. And, like, that effort was 10 years in the making of her flying with us. And every time we flew, we'd show her, like, here's where you go. So, like, the routine was sort of embedded in. We booked a flight that was a direct flight. And, like, to work her up to taking a flight by herself was years of making and having a handoff. Like, okay, we're going to hand off here. And she did it. And she's so proud of herself that she did it. But while she was there was when we had figured out how sick she was. And had we known how sick she was, we would have taken her to the doctor beforehand. But as she got sicker and sicker, her sister noticed that something was off and took her to the doctor. And she could have been really, really sick. And it was just struck us, like, here we are, really taking another risk, her going on a plane by herself. Yet she couldn't tell us how sick she was. Like, damn.
Right? She probably went to, I know with Dylan, like, because obviously that was probably something she really wanted to do. Like, there's times when like, Dylan was, like, sick a couple weeks ago, but he kept asking me to go places. But I could tell just even when we were going somewhere that something's off, he's sick. And then we get there and he's like, it was just a restaurant, but he's like, to go, please. And he looked like he was gonna kill over in the car. And I'm like, why did I do this? But same thing. He will just, like, when he doesn't feel good, he wants me to ask him, are you okay? And I'll repeat to me, are you okay? But, like, and because you've known Dylan forever too, and I'm sure Melanie's the same way, like you just said, like, even when they're sick and they know they're sick, like, they had, like, with their symptoms and stuff, sometimes they can't tell you, like, what's happening,
right?
Like, or they have something that is something, but we've learned through the years, right, that it can affect different areas in your body. So even if it is whatever, acid reflux or ear infection or something, you might have other symptoms going on in the rest of your body, but you're not able to communicate that, like, out.
For sure. And Melanie's, like a lot of our kids, she has reflux, she has gastrointestinal issues. And she can't tell us any of it. She can't explain it. We get it tested. They can't find it, but it's there. But there she is.
I always love that too. I'm sure it probably sounds the same where, I mean, I go through this with Dylan all the time. Like, we actually just had the blood panel, but it's like, it's almost, I'm not saying I want something to be wrong, but obviously something is up.
Right.
And it's like, when I do, all these, like, genetic testing or blood tests or, EEGs or you name it, like, it's always like, oh, we didn't find anything. Are you like, really? Like, it's all normal. Is it? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it really, for the practitioners or even the families listening, when you're working with your team and your therapist, it comes down to these kinds of quality of life risks that, people want to take. Like, new furniture is nice. It's a big deal, right?
I was excited. I mean, I was like, wow, it's so weird. It makes it sometimes stuff like that. And it's like, we didn't even, I mean, we got it super cheap, you know, we got a deal. Wasn't like, it's definitely also probably not the level of something I would have purchased like, you know, 20
Mhm.
years ago in the stage of my life. But you know, it was exciting and he's super into it. He seems really happy with it. And I keep telling him now too, like, we got to be very careful and make sure we keep everything clean. But he's been trying, you know. I gotta say, he seems like it. We also had when you said like things that can go happen and cause full on chaos. You probably saw me post it. We had I was working the other day and I had the news on, listening to the craziness in Ukraine, and all of a sudden both my my internet and the cable went out, and I was like, oh my God, like Dylan is gonna lose his, you know what, you know. He happened to be taking a nap, which is my saving grace, because if the cable goes out in the middle of the night, if he's up or just anytime, he freaks.
Yep.
You know, it's broken, fix the Wi-Fi, fix the cable, like, you know, like
Mhm.
the world's coming to an end. He happened to be asleep, so I was like calling Cox. I got on speed dial, but they're like immediately this automated thing. It saw this is, it's on our end, it's down in your neighborhood, and at the time it said it's going to be down till like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, and I'm like, oh my God, because it was like 1. So I was like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? So I called my dad and I said, I'm coming to your house. I woke him up. I was double fisted. I had Starburst in one hand and a bag of M&Ms in the other hand, but I wanted to get him to the car so he didn't try to turn the TV on.
Mhm.
So I was like, we're gonna go to Grandma Jan's house, and I, you know, and we're gonna go hang out there for a while. So I, you know, diverted him, got him there and all that. And then when I'm there, it pops up and it's like, now it's not gonna be fixed till 9 p.m. I'm like, oh my God, it's so shoot me now. But anyways, it worked out. He did well, but I'm telling you, as you would know, if that would have happened even a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
like I would have been black and blue. Like
Yeah.
he would lose his mind.
Yeah.
But also, he didn't really know there is an issue because I came up with a plan.
Yeah.
But these are the things, like, as you know, and anybody that, especially all our families, know, you know, I would say it was harder when he was younger, but it's still like, you know, it's still hard, you know?
Yeah.
Like, no matter what age, you know?
Yep. Absolutely. Change is hard. Risks are hard.
Yeah.
But we got to do them both, right?
Yeah. But once you get through it, right?
Yep.
It's such a breath of fresh air, and like sometimes, you know, sometimes the risks are totally worth it, and you know, it makes you realize that, hey, you know, I can do this and we can get through it, and it kind of pumps you up for like, maybe you can try something else, right? Maybe not today, but you know.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's what I was thinking. Like, just hearing how you and Dylan handled that situation, you are right. You would have been beaten up a few years ago.
Yeah.
And it just shows how you have continued with Dylan, and as we have with Melanie, to not just accept the status quo, but like take some risks, work through the change, because we come out of it. It might be painful during the process, but you come out of it the other side in a better place.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, we've got a lot to talk about in April, because this concept is divided among the community. And also the DSM-5 TR just came out. I just got copies of it yesterday. I haven't had a chance to digest it, because they are working towards really defining more the differences in the levels of impact for autism. So we'll be talking about that a lot too.
Awesome.
All right, Jen, congratulations on your new furniture.
Oh, thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.